Astrology friends, these are your June 2023 video horoscopes with me, Lada from AstroladaOfficial. And June we have a very monumental event, Jupiter conjunct the North Node. That's a manifestation of wishes combination. I mentioned it in some videos that this combination was when the king would gather its priests to pray to the gods, because they believe that when Jupiter is with the North Node, the prayers of humanities are heard and reach God more. So now it's time to dream big or to pray more because some wishes will come true. And there's some other important events that I'll talk about. But first I want to tell you that me and Trifon are doing a course on June the 10th and the 11th on the 100 fixed stars, most important according to ancient sources, how they play out in the natal chart, what it means to you. You can read the horoscope just using fixed stars, nothing else. That's how I read most horoscopes. And I'm starting a new big offer throughout the whole summer, every 3 weeks. Anyone who wants to learn astrology, I'll be recommending a few courses, foundational and more advanced, about a certain topic that are the essential courses, because we have more than 300 astrology courses. So I'll be recommending which are the best for certain topics, and every month I'll do a live Q&A with everyone who takes those courses. You can ask me, we can do more than one Q&A, so you can learn astrology with me, and there'll be big discount on the bundles of those courses on different topics. We start with astrology of relationships. Check it out. I'll put a link below. You can check on my website. There will be updated courses every 3 weeks, and then the discount disappears. But I will be throughout you the whole summer with every new person that joins for any questions on this process of learning with me, because we have incredible courses from incredible astrologers, and mine, of course, always will be present there. Thank you. Let's start. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, June 2023. Capricorn, the month starts with Jupiter conjunct the North Node, which happens rarely, once every 7 years, in another Earth sign, which should be quite helpful for you, because both the North Node and Jupiter give manifestation. They expand, they allow for growth, they bring something new, and it's happening in your 5th house. So you might feel it in May, some of you already, others in June, even into July, while those two planets are close together, while those 2 points. So it's kind of like the ancient knew it like a combination for fulfilling of wishes. Jupiter is known as the planet of prayer or wishes, and when it would come together with the North Node, apparently ancient texts have that when the North Node and Jupiter come together, the king would call all his high priests to make a prayer, because they believe that prayers are heard then. But there is a bit with be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it with the North Node and Rahu. North Node fulfills wishes, our personal human wishes, that sometimes though it might be something more than we have bargained for. But it's exciting energy in your 5th house here. What can it bring? For some of you, that is the right karmic time. It may be a new love interest, a new passion, because Rahu is very passionate. It rules the reptilian brain of desire. Jupiter can expand that. For some of you, can be flirt, a date, something exciting, something new. And it's not just going to be very random, that is one-off. It can be more than that, because it's an important conjunction. For others, some important developments can be in their love life, maybe getting excited again, to have more fun together with the partner, maybe to have more sex as well. This is one of the houses of enjoying pleasures, having it more like fun. For others, it can be very fertile, because Jupiter is very fertile planet, so is the North Node. Pregnancies can happen if you're trying to. This period is for especially for Capricorn Moon people, and for Capricorn Rising people are more possible. For others, okay, if it's your love life, what kind of people can you expect to appear? Might be foreign, because it's Rahu, might be, or very different, unusual, love interest than normal, because Rahu is not typical. Rahu is something exotic, something different or foreign or different social class or even gender, who knows, than you're used to. So there is something, an energy of riskiness, an energy of a bit taboo or experimentation, and with the Jupiter you're willing to embrace it, and you're kind of protected as well from the crazy behaviors. You temper it with a dose of, you know, wisdom, hopefully. For others, as I stated, it might be children, or something new might be happening and important in the life of your child. Some new phase, some new opportunities, some new materialization in their life that can happen. On another level, fifth house is creative endeavors. So if you have your own business, it's your own creative endeavor. If you're paint, art, or write books, if you blog, vlog, anything that you're creating on your own, you're putting your own individual, unique thought. This is the fifth house, the inspiration house. So Jupiter and the North Node can really explode it. So some of you might be downloading great creative ideas. Some of you, for a couple of months, can feel inspired towards something new, some new creative project that you've never done, or some new to do in your business, some new passion that you've never done before. Again, there is a energy of newness here, of experimenting, of trying something different. For others, it can just be, so if you're a creative person, wow, some new idea can happen. If you're a performer, if you're someone in the public eye in some way, you'll be more this magic, charisma, this star-like quality gets enhanced and accentuated with you. So you can grab the hearts of others, or you can just attract center stage, or if you have to perform or do a speech or whatever it is where you're in the center stage, you have this magic factor, or some such activity might appear for you out of the blue as an opportunity to perform, to be in public or audience, to take some center stage, or to put yourself out there like a star, visible, shining, you know. So should you take it? I believe so. I think we should try new things. And for other people, it might be just something very simple, like trying a new hobby that appears, that excites you, that brings passion for you. And because Jupiter will stay for a whole year in your fifth house, I believe that whatever you're trying and it's not for you, it will fall off once the North Node moves out of the fifth house. But Jupiter will keep the new passions, that new things that awaken your love for life, because the fifth house is the house of lust for life, love for life. When you feel life like a child, when everything is wow, awesome, when you feel like you're in love, that's one thing that can happen. But also when you just feel happy to be alive, because life grabs your interest, because you're inspired, you know, just like when you're in love, oh, everything is great, and oh, I'm interested to make children's games, to do little cards for my partner, to be creative, to try new things, to skateboard, like all the things I did when I first fell in love with my husband that I would never do otherwise. But there is also another way to get to the state. Sometimes it happens, and hopefully North Node Jupiter can trigger it for you spontaneously, naturally, with ease, because they both give things with ease, where something just makes you feel alive again, excites you. It might be hobby, passion, love, or a child, or some new some new talent that you discover, or creative project. So that's what I expect might happen with Jupiter with the North Node there. Or you might manifest something in that area creatively that you've been working on. Then on another level, on the 6th of June, Venus will enter Leo and will stay there for quite long, for 4 months. Venus usually stays only for a month in a sign, but this time it will stay much longer. So it's a very strong and long influence, and kind of positive influence. It is Venus, and Venus is a lucky good planet for you as a ruler of angular and trinal houses. So Venus going into your 8th house should give some blessings there. On the spiritual level, that can be psychological, emotional healing from betrayals, from traumas, from being hurt psychologically, emotionally, even back to being a child. They can be some kind of, Venus is like a lubrication, Venus is like a healing potion, and easily, because Venus is, if the eighth house is known as the house of where everything toxic goes, so it's like the big intestines in the physical body, but spiritually that will be where all the toxic emotions stay. And Venus can help with the lubrication, just like with the colon of, to remove toxic waste, the same way to remove toxic waste from your astral body. So it can be a 4-month process that happens naturally, where you're released from stuck up feelings and painful feelings and emotions, and so it can be a help with the healing from grieving or trauma or any kind of broken trust. Of course, it can happen with, for example, with facilitated by someone, because Venus can be because of new love, for example, because your eighth house is another of the houses, not only painful and such as those things that I told you, but it's also a house where you can, it's known as the house of soulmates, where there is a strong astral connection between you. So with Venus there can be some healing that happens. Either Venus can be a consultant or advisor that helps you with the healing of those feelings that we talked about, or a friend, or it can be just because you have loving feelings towards someone else, for example, or a relationship. And when Venus, though, sometimes even your relationship happens when Venus is around, they can be the elements of hidden or private, because it's in the 8th house. It's kind of a hidden house. And it can be an element of suddenness, because 8th house carries elements of sudden as well. But there is passions happening there. Also, hopefully it can improve sex life. If you're in a good relationship, Jupiter in the 5th house of being in love can make you more adventurous, to try new things, to have more fun together, to have more entertainment, not just in a relationship, but even if you're single, to have more fun, to entertain yourself, to go crazy. I forgot to say Jupiter with the North Node, fun, 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 paint the town red. Just go experiment with new ways of having fun, do things you've never done before, just feel alive and crazy, even do a few taboo things. And with Venus in the 8th house, you can, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, there was something about the, it was about improving your intimate life and allowing you to open yourself, trust a little bit more again, hopefully. Also, you can become private to a lot of secrets during Venus in the 8th house, to private information and secrets, which can be cathartic, which can be healing for you and for others involved as well. So now, sometimes when Venus is in the 8th house, there can be, as I said, something hidden in regards to love and relationships that becomes clear, that comes to the surface, but Venus also helps to heal that. And sometimes a person can take very radical decisions about relationships when Venus is in the 8th house for so long, especially during the retrograde period, which will start in towards the end of July. So if you are not in the right relationship, Venus there will kind of can flip your mind, a sudden change, because something comes to the surface, something that was hidden, something gets, but at the same time, it's very likely because there is also a possibility of someone else around in your life because of Jupiter in the 5th house and so on. But it can just be because 5th house is children, Jupiter is fertile planet, Venus 8th house is conception of children, giving birth and pregnancies is the 8th house, because it's a bit of a messy process and very private and sacred process. The 8th house is a sacred, private house, just like the sex organs were considered sacred, not like nowadays a dirty part. But Venus there can indicate, for some of you, getting pregnant, for example, easier. But there is a lot of focus on those kind of both the 8th and the 5th house, that the two benefics are and will stay for such a long time. They're about intimacy, about falling in love, about there is connection there to life creation. But of course, the 8th house, there is this energy of also about death and rebirth. So for some of you, Venus can indicate your own beauty and appearance and style. Venus there it just gets spinned in a whirlwind of desires, passions, and transformations, because the 8th house is transformational. Sometimes people can even do surgeries to change something. I'm not saying all Capricorns will have surgeries over the next 4 months, but it's a possibility for some of you that there is a surgery for, and Venus in the 8th house helps you heal very fast. Venus is there, or 8th house is of regeneration, such shock things like surgeries and so on, but it's also the ability for the body to regenerate, and Venus is the best planet of regeneration. So if you have any surgical procedures, I do believe this will heal very fast. Also, Venus rules your 5th house, going into the 8th house, transformations in your love life, transformations in your creative processes, transformations in regards to children as well. Venus rules also for Capricorn your 10th house. There can be some transformation here happening even regards to career or your social status over the next 4 months, that you take some radical decisions about your social status or marriage, you know. So it's interesting to see how it develops. But all the time, Jupiter is protecting you because it's making trine to your sign the whole year till next May 2024. So there is a very strong protective force for you, all Capricorns here throughout the whole period. Whatever choices you make, whatever changes are happening with Venus in the house of change and transformations, death and birth, it turns out good. You're protected physically. Your own health and your own path is okay. Well, Venus here, as I said, it can transform your appearance as well, your taste of beauty. But Venus in the 8th house can be really good for certain things. What is the 8th house? I said for intimacy and sex it can improve, but also 8th house is receiving money from others, learning to receive more. Maybe you can receive from clients more during this period. Maybe you can receive from your partner. Your partner can start making more money, or from another source, external source. Also, the 8th house is inheritances. Sometimes Venus there, if you've been trying to get an inheritance, or that entails that you've been trying to kill someone, or you've been waiting for something that is complicated, Venus can help things move and improve and easily receive them. Or if you might receive alimony from a partner, like a support, or you might receive something, other valuable things from others. So over the next 4 months, learn to open yourself, and you don't always have to do everything alone. You can receive from others as well, and ask and you'll receive. And it's not necessarily just money asking from others. 8th house is any kind of external support we can get. It can be asking for your neighbor's lawnmower, it's other people's possessions or whatever, asking for someone to help you with their skill or with their talents, asking for someone's expertise. 8th house is this hidden support, the support that we can get from others, utilizing other people's resources in a beneficial way for us because of this beautiful Venus there for you that will be there. Also, the 8th house can be the house of taxes, insurances, inheritances. Things connected to all of those things can go well and positive. You can receive them. Mutual finances. So if you invested something in stock, maybe it can go really well now. You can some stock that you have or investment, something to do with that. You might be some important developments there towards the more positive end, because Venus is a positive planet. Okay. So then we're gonna have Pluto coming back on the 12th into your sign. You thought it's finished. No, you have till the end of the year. Pluto was there since 2008, dipped for 2 months into Aquarius, out of your sign, now back again in the very last 2 degrees of Capricorn to 3 degrees. So anyone who is Capricorn, the very last degree, so born, I would say, on the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 17, 18, 19, 20th of January, or who has Sun, Moon, or Ascendant from 27 till 30 degrees in Capricorn, they would feel it very powerfully. It's like total change in life, total transformation. Nothing is the same. The death of the old ego and way of life and being, and the birthing process of a new one, which is never an easy process, but it's something that years down the line will say, I'm so grateful for this happening. That's the best thing that could have happened to me, because it gave me my power back and I found my own power. So this sense of Pluto first might feel like it's destroying you, but actually it wants to show you that you are powerful. It divests you from everything that you thought makes you, that without this thing, oh, I cannot survive. And Pluto takes it away and says, oh yeah, I'll leave it totally naked. And you're left totally naked, and you make even better life for yourself. And you're like, wow, I'm actually amazingly powerful and strong. So Pluto kind of robs you of this power, and then makes you realize how powerful you are, how little you need, and what a survivor you are, and puts you on the right path. And it's the best planet for the evolution of your soul, and to align you to what your soul desire is. But for all other Capricorns, they would feel maybe a little bit the intensity coming back. Something that you started that you haven't finished can come back to be completed till the end of the year. Maybe something that was, maybe you thought that, oh, it left me, all right, it's not part of me. It might be a habit, it might be a state of being, it might be a role that you've played, it might be a position or something that comes back for a little bit, that for you to make this final transformation and self-empowerment, and it leaves again at the end of the year for good. So final possibility to really make some deep transformations. And on the same, a bit later, Saturn goes retrograde on the 18th. You can't see it here, but it's the 18th of June. Saturn goes retrograde. It's okay, Capricorn, this is your planet. It goes retrograde every year for 4 months. Saturn goes retrograde in your 3rd house for the first time in 30 years. This is a time when you can start reconsidering, because retrograde is like you start reconsidering, seeing what's not working. Anything that is defunct starts showing itself in regards to your social connections, the people that you socialize with. Any problems that are there, anything that's rotten apples start showing themselves. It might be people from your social media, it might be people, your colleagues or mates or relatives. Sometimes even problems with siblings can appear if something's been festering and not being addressed. So when Saturn goes retrograde, all those things come to the surface to be said. They can no longer be hidden under the carpet. Any problems with neighbors, with siblings, with relatives, with friends as well, everyone in your everyday environment, they would start showing up to be addressed. Of course, how do you address them? As a mature person, as a moral person. Otherwise, they can get very dark. Not dark, but it can, the problems that arise now can stick for 3 years, till 2.5 years, till Saturn is in your 3rd house. So it's good not to act too rashly when it comes to such people, colleagues or relatives or neighbors and siblings and friends. It's good to be, maybe keep your distance a little bit. Saturn likes that from those that you consider that have no boundaries. For those that you see that problems are arising, analyze it, don't rush, be meticulous, be mature about it. Be no nonsense about it, put boundaries without being abusive, without being abrasive, without being horrible, of course. And if you notice that others are becoming horrible to you, those people, again, take the highest hand. You see, be a Saturn. Don't be raging lunatic or whatever. Be like, okay, just let me withdraw. No slurs needed. No threats. Maybe I need to put my distance from you. so sometimes this is what Saturn requires us to do when it goes retrograde, for us at least, to see what are those people. And sometimes we've had bad attitudes towards such people, or haven't lived up to the level of a neighbor or sibling or relative, and such behaviors will become obvious for you. Whatever this issue is will come to the surface, hopefully to be reworked slowly, no rushing again, give space, give time. Then another thing can happen is third house is communication devices, transportations. Saturn going retrograde, there can be some issue there. Maybe you have to take different routes, maybe your car starts breaking down, maybe your devices start being, some issues there. Sometimes I've seen this happen as well. Again, you have to be patient with such things. The ultimate goal of Saturn in your third house, and especially the retrograde period, is to help you find your voice, to state the things that were unsaid. Saturn can bring things that you've been wanting to say from before, to communicate them. So usually such kind of problems with communication devices and so on, it's like a sign. Something is unsaid. There is something broken in the communication. Something that you have to learn. Maybe you're someone who suppresses what they want to say and they don't say it. But again, don't be lunatic saying hurtful stuff, but you have to express the things that you want to say. Or maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you have no filter and say things that hurt others. Well, Saturn going retrograde, now you start seeing the consequences of that, and you'll start pulling back and realizing how to communicate to others in a more efficient, in a more mature way. This is the word of Saturn. In a more mature way, yes. So also sometimes when Saturn starts going retrograde in the third house, you might revise relationships with others in your social environment, to see people from the past you haven't seen. It can be as good as simple as that. People in your environment that you reconnect with, someone from the past. And usually it's someone that there is a bit of a pain or hurt there, or something unsaid or unfinished, that such people come back in your life to finish it, so you can kind of see it from a different perspective, or talk it out, to communicate it out, and complete things. And also sometimes when Saturn is in the third house, there can be revision of old materials of knowledge, skills. You might be asked to use skills that, or improve and further deepen certain skill. Or if you started in the previous month studying something new, Saturn going retrograde in your third house, which is house of also acquiring skills and knowledge, can be great to teach you to deepen that knowledge, to go deep and dig and do better research, or really kind of make it automatic in your brain. Oh my god, I'm talking too much, sorry about that. Okay, so there might be some complications with travels especially during the time Saturn is turning retrograde, a week before, a week after. There might be complications with all those third house things that I said. You might need to revise websites, passwords, internet. You might need to revise who you communicate with. There can be some certain problems there, but anyway, I'm not gonna go too much. This video is getting too long. And then the last thing is, there's on the 18th again full moon in your sixth house, a new moon, new beginnings, a renewal in your work environment. Maybe a new job proposition can come for some of you, ending of ending of work project, starting of a new work project. The new colleagues can come. Maybe a new health routine some of you can start, or a new six houses, if you have some health problems, kind of remedy or medicine that you're taking, a new course of, or a new doctor that appears for you to give you a new diagnostics. But because Neptune is squaring, be careful, because if you're starting a new job or a new project or a new health routine or a new medicine of any sort, or healing, there might be something that maybe it's over promising, or it's too good to be true, or something that you're not fully, like side effects, or that because Neptune is something, there is something that you're not fully aware of. Maybe you imagine it to be one way, but later it will reveal certain other things as well. So if it's a new job, I'm not necessarily saying it will be bad. if it's a new treatment or whatever. I'm just saying that there might be something you're not fully aware of about it. That's about it, just to know. So thank you so much, Capricorn, and I will see you next month.